Hello, BookTube. There's more mail here. There's another mail haul, our last one for the week. Uh, and I thought we'd open it together. It feels wrong to open it without you. Uh, I am still uh, badly in need of cheering up. And uh, that's apropos because this always does cheer me up, to talking with the rest of you, joking with the rest of you. Knowing that you're there always, always cheers me up. And it worked a little the last time I tried it. I'm hoping it'll work even more this time. Uh, so I thought we'd get right to it. It's not a bad stack of books for today, and to finish out the week. And before we do, I thought I would make my two usual disclaimers, things that I used to say all the time, and I forget to do it, even though I should remember because I have new subscribers. Every time I look at that number, it's a little higher. So there are people watching who are new to the channel and who maybe don't know the extensive vocabulary and roster of in-jokes that has developed over 17,000 videos. And so one of the two of the things that I want to say before this mail haul, before any mail haul really, although I often forget to say it, is number one, if you see any book in this pile that you really want, and I mean a genuine want, not if it's on the sidewalk I might pick it up, or yeah, if you want to send it to me, I might take a look at it, or I might be interested in that. No, nothing like that. But something that, like, you've been reading about UFOs your whole life, and I get a book on UFOs and it's brand new or it isn't out yet, and you're definitely going to pore over it or pounce on it. Let me know if that's true. If you see something like that in this pile, let me know. And once I'm done with the book, I will send it to you. No reason at all for that not to happen. I do that all the time. And thing number two is a little deeper. If you see something here and you want to try your hand at reviewing it, writing a review for an audience, then you should let me know that too. Because in addition to being an active freelance book reviewer, I am also the managing editor of a small but well-respected literary journal called Open Letters Monthly. And we're always looking for new writers. And we have a few things in our favor to entice you. One of which is that you'll be in very good company. We have some very smart, very insightful editors on our masthead, all of whom will look at your work. It's unlike other literary journals where it's an intern who will stamp you yes or no and give you almost nothing in the way of feedback. We're a very involved site. There's that, and there's also the fact that our audience is really good. It's small, but it's intensely concentrated on readers, writers, editors, publicists, that sort of thing. So we're not a bad place to get your work published. So if you see something here and you'd like to try that out, just let me know in the comments field, and I'll help in any way I can. So now that's out of the way, let's start with this first one here and see what it is. See what kind of a haul we've got this time around. Okay, this is from the folks at Da Capo Press. They do really good history. They do all sorts of other stuff, but they do really good history. And this is called Island of the Blue Foxes by Stephen Brown, the author of The Last Viking. Let's see here. At the Okhotsk dockyards in eastern Russia, two identical ships were built in 1737 to fulfill Peter the Great's most ambitious project, to sail from Kamchatka to America, fill the geographical maps left by the European nations, and demonstrate to Europe the power and sophistication of Russia. As the St. Peter and the St. Paul sailed toward what is known as Alaska, they were separated during a storm, never to meet again. While the twin ships went on different paths, they would soon share a destiny of greatness, fame, and unspeakable tragedy. All right, I'm sold. So this is this comes out. Help me out here. November. Okay, the Island of the Blue Foxes comes out in November. Disaster and triumph on the world's greatest scientific expedition. All right, so let's see what this next one is. Well, the subtitle doesn't exactly match the description, does it? The description was not of a scientific endeavor. Who knows? We'll have to read it to see. Okay, this next one is historical fiction. Um, it it comes out in paperback in the first week of August, and it's by Catherine Newry Hughes, and it's called The Mapmaker's Daughter. Uh, Very nice thing. Deckled edges, French flaps. Very nicely made. It's a historical novel set in the 16th century, and it is the confession of Nurbanu, born Cecilia Baffo Veniero, the mesmerizing illegitimate Venetian who became the most powerful woman in the Ottoman Empire at the height of its power under Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. The bold backstory of the Netflix series Magnificent Century. I don't know that series. Now I'll go look for it. Narrating the story of her rise. So this is the rise of Nurbanu. To the pinnacle of imperial power, Queen Mother Nurbanu, on her sickbed, is determined to understand how her bond with Suleiman, the greatest of all Ottoman sultans, shaped her destiny, not only as the wife of his successor, but as the appointed enforcer of one of the empire's most crucial and shocking laws. Nurbanu spares nothing as she dissects the desires and motives that have propelled and harmed her, as she considers her role as devoted and manipulative mother, as she reckons her relations with the women of the harem, and as she details the fate of the most sophisticated observatory in the world. Hence the mapmaker's daughter. Interesting. Okay, so this has got praise from a whole bunch of people, and the publicist suggested it to me. She thought I might like it. That's entirely possible. Certainly sounds right up my alley. All right. So the mapmaker's daughter. We'll give this a try. I know of this figure only as the smallest of footnotes, so almost everything in this book will be new to me. Let's go on to this next one here. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. All right. This comes out in late August, and it's by Paul Lockhart, and it is called Arithmetic. It's simply called Arithmetic. Because evolution endowed humans with a complement of 10 fingers. A grouping size of 10 seems natural to us, perhaps even ideal. But from the perspective of mathematics, groupings of 10 are arbitrary and can have serious shortcomings. 12 would be better for divisibility, and 8 is smaller and well-suited for repeated halving. Grouping by 2, as in binary code, has turned out to have its own remarkable advantages. Paul Lockhart reveals arithmetic not as the rote manipulation of numbers, and yet I almost guarantee you that's what this book will be. A practical if mundane branch of knowledge best suited for balancing a checkbook or filling out tax forms. But as a set of ideas that exhibit the fascinating and sometimes surprising behaviors usually reserved for higher branches of mathematics. Okay, so this author is going to claim that the stuff you get in the higher calculus, the surprises and even the poetry, are available in lowly arithmetic. He teaches mathematics at St. Anne's School in Brooklyn. So, okay, so I guess on the surface I don't really believe the claim, but I am intrigued. I admit I am intrigued. I don't know how that happened. I can't believe I might end up reading a book on arithmetic, but if I do, I will certainly review it. And we'll get this next one here. We'll just move on. We'll just keep moving on. We have a few more packages to go. Okay. This next one is, this looks like a nonfiction heavy haul so far. So we certainly won't hear Steve complain about that. All right, so there's no pub sheet in this next. Oh no, there is. This is called Life Through Time and Space. Got a tree on the African veldt there and some sort of mollusky creature. This is by Wallace Arthur, who is emeritus professor of zoology at the National University of Ireland in Galway, and that is what it looks like. Tell me you don't want to learn what he has to teach you. Of course you do. That's why I love looking at author photos. Let's see here. So what is life through time and space? All humans share 3 origins. Oh, right, we saw this already. I had objections to the breakdown, and apparently they were not heeded because they're repeated in the finished copy. The beginnings of our individual lives, the appearance of life on Earth, and the formation of our planetary home. Life Through Time and Space brings together the latest discoveries in both biology and astronomy to examine our deepest questions about where we came from, where we are going, and whether we are alone in the cosmos. Okay. All right. So this comes out in early August. Where we are going part is absolutely fascinating to me because of something that I just read. The cover article of this week's issue of New York Magazine, which is about catastrophic climate change, and which is not to be missed. Just not to be missed. Most of you don't. I get the impression most of you don't live anywhere near what I would call a newsstand, and probably don't have any access to the latest issue of New York Magazine. But if you have any way to do it, even if the article, maybe a portion of it, is free online, I haven't checked, you should read it. It's astonishing. But let's see what the author has to say here. I've spent most of my life as a biologist. In the last few years, I've spent a lot of time studying astronomy. This book is a celebration of these sciences and of the growing relationship between them, a celebratory story told in plain language, not technical jargon. It's about our origins, our fates, our place in the universe, and the likelihood of intelligent life, looked at from both a biological and astronomical point of view. I dedicate the book to all of those who helped to promote understanding rather than indoctrination, and in particular that great truth seeker, Thomas Henry Huxley. Understanding is one of the noblest goals of humanity, and one of our keys to our own survival and progress. Okay, so it looks like it starts off with human evolution, then moves on from there to the possibility of intelligent alien life elsewhere, to the Drake equation. Which has, I think I have mentioned Arthur Isaac before. I will leave a link to his channel down below. He's worth watching, especially, he has a ton of videos. But if you're interested in the subject at all, go to his channel and search for the Drake equation. You'll have a lot of great viewing. It's a lot of great viewing in front of you. It takes a tiny bit of getting used to. He has a speech impediment that he's perfectly willing to poke fun at. It even puts a disclaimer about there are certain letters that he can't form. So it takes a moment or two to acclimate your ears to understanding him. He does a very good job of crossing that divide. I imagine he has a whole lifetime of experience. But once you get past that, what a thinker. But anyway, let's move on here. Let's move on. What is this next one? Another finished copy. Oh, great. Okay. This is the finished copy of Robert Knapp's The Dawn of Christianity, with the subtitle Peoples and Gods in a Time of Magic and Miracles. This is another thing we saw an advanced copy of, I believe. I guess that's a natural thing on this channel, right? If we're opening everything, we're going to see the advanced copies and then the finished copies. Yeah, this is as familiar as Life Through Time and Space. I probably got the advanced copies on the same day, too. Ordinary people of antiquity interacted with the supernatural through a mosaic of beliefs and rituals. Exploring everyday life from 200 BCE to the end of the 1st century CE, Robert Knapp shows that Jews and polytheists lived with the gods in very similar ways. Traditional interactions provided stability even in times of crisis, while changing a relationship risked catastrophe for the individual, his family, and his community. This I remember this now. Yes, I remember this comes out in mid-August. A very pretty finished copy. I still haven't got to it, even though it's a subject that's right up my alley. I still haven't got to it. It's The Dawn of Christianity by Robert Knapp. Then we have this next one here. A big thick thing. That's always good. What is this? Oh, fantastic. Oh, incredible. This is due on August 1st. The pub sheet says it's probably out already in bookstores. And it is from Holmes to Sherlock. Can't remember if I showed this on the channel before. It's by Matthias Bostrom, and it is great. Absolutely great. It is the story of how you get from the Arthur Conan Doyle stories to media sensation. to a visual media sensation. How you get there. So as all the great stories of the Basil Rathbone interpretation of Sherlock Holmes, the stage versions of Sherlock Holmes, the movie versions of Sherlock Holmes, it is fantastic on the Jeremy Brett interpretation of Sherlock Holmes, and all of the backstage maneuverings that were going on the whole time. It tells those stories wonderfully. And then all the way to the present day with the idiotic Robert Downey Jr. movies and the great Benedict Cumberbatch modernization. It's a must-read book for Holmes fans. It really is. I know that is a tall order because there's so many Holmes books, but this really is one. It's the perfect complement story to the fact that we're still talking about this character 100 years later. This is a large part of the reason why. Of course, the literary purist inside me wants to say that the main reason why is the wonder of the stories, but a lot of the stories creak. And a lot of readers go to the stories already convinced that the character is wonderful, and they're convinced that way by the other interpretations, by non-literary interpretations. So it's not a side study to study the visual representations of Sherlock Holmes over the century. So it's the best study along those lines that I've ever read. And then we've got this last one here. One of these big white things. What is this? Okay. All right. This is due in late August. I did not request it. I did not know it was coming. And it feels, at my first glance at it, like a practical joke. But I know it's not, but it feels that way. The title of this book is actually The Boy Who Was Raised as a Dog. And the subtitle is "And Other Stories from Child Psychiatrist's Notebook: What Traumatized Children Can Teach Us About Loss, Love, and Healing." How does trauma affect a child's mind, and how can traumatized children recover? In the classic The Boy Who Was Raised as a Dog, Dr. Perry explains what happens inside the brains of children exposed to extreme stress and shares their lessons of courage, humanity, and hope. So I gather that the boy who was raised as a dog, the titular boy who was raised as a dog, was traumatized by the experience? No, but of course he wasn't. No, he was traumatized by his parents. And the raised by a dog part was just icing on the cake. I can give you some of the lessons that children raised by dogs would actually tell you if there were any other in the world other than me. I was actually raised and socialized by dogs, and I can tell you some of the lessons that you learn from such an upbringing, but they're not traumatic. Don't share food. No such thing as play fighting. It's always a good time to horse around or to nap. And there's always time for affection. Neuroses are largely unknown. Still, this is interesting. I wish that it had a different title, but that's all right. So, what a way to end a mail haul. Good Lord. So The Boy Who Was Raised as a Dog. I still can't believe that. From Holmes to Sherlock, I highly recommend the book. Get it from your library if you don't want to pay full price for it, but I highly recommend it. The Dawn of Christianity, which I now realize has to go on my to read immediately nightstand here. Life Through Time and Space, about human evolution and the chance of extraterrestrial life. Arithmetic, about the hidden beauties of arithmetic, of counting. The Mapmaker's Daughter, a historical novel about the head of the Sultan's harem. An Island of the Blue Foxes, about a pioneer sea voyage commissioned by Peter the Great. What a great this was almost entirely nonfiction. The Mapmaker's Daughter was the only one that wasn't. That's fantastic. And it has the side effect of making me want to dig into most of these things. From Holmes to Sherlock, I've already read. I'm very happy to have this nice hardcover. But the one that's really getting to me is The Dawn of Christianity. That's right up my. It's inexcusable. I haven't read it yet, so I will get right on that. And that's it for now. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, BookTube, for keeping me company. And I'll see you soon.